Hey, it's Ray Morneau, driver of the number 30 Liuna APC late model for Casey Cash Racing, and you're watching ONTrack Weekly.
What is going on, everybody? Kim K here with you, ONTrack Weekly. Thank you, Ray Morneau Jr. for that awesome intro. We appreciate it. I am here. I'm stuffed up, disheveled, and extremely anxious. But you know what? We're here to talk motorsports. We got brand new floors put into place today, and unfortunately that's caused just a lot of exhaustion and my allergies to really flare up right in time for the show. And still dealing with a bug issue here, and it is just it's nice we get to come and chat some racing stuff. We'll of course get going with some pretty cool stuff that was actually just released, maybe within the last 20 minutes. And let's take a look at and I just hope that that people do pay attention to this and that they follow up. But wrong page. How about this? The first annual Robert Bourne Memorial Scholarship, our sponsorship, is now available. And Ashley McMartin out at Peterborough Speedway is putting this on in memory of her father. And this is for everyone out there in Ontario. You can nominate a driver who exemplifies the criteria for a chance to earn a $500 sponsorship for your 2025 season. So let's take a look at that criteria that is available, and it's the driver who is picked for this sponsorship needs to display exceptional sportsmanship both on and off the racetrack, actively mentors young and upcoming racers while continuing to learn and grow personally. The driver represents sponsors and marketing partners with enthusiasm and professionalism. And we ask that if you're nominating somebody, that you select somebody from outside your own race team or social circle. Very important is what Ash is asking for. The driver that is nominated must be registered for 2025 at an Asphalt Ontario short track. Okay, that's key there. Entries will be reviewed by a 5-person panel, and the nomination cutoff will be January 25th at 1 p.m. The winner will be chosen Tuesday, January 29th, 2025 at 7 p.m. So if you guys don't know Ash McMartin, Ash has been a part of the racing community out at Peterborough Speedway, a sponsor And it is exciting to see that this 500, and in memorial of her father, big congrats to her for making this initiative and what her father, meant to her, and to do something in his honor. This is exactly what the racing community, I think that they'll appreciate what Ash is doing for them in nomination of such a great man. And I've gotten to know Ash a little bit over the last year or so, and there's nobody that shows so much more passion than Ash in terms of her motorsports. And she's already a huge supporter, supporting names like Rob Crick, Chris Tubman, Matt McMartin, and Colton Everingham. And at least Colton Everingham last year. Lakeside Mobile Tire, as you've seen, has been a pretty well-known partner in the racing scene, and this is a big thing. And I'm excited to see who signs up. And I like the idea that we have people that are going to be nominating others specifically outside of their own social circle, outside of their Angela Novus too. Thank you, Ash. And really interested to see how many people submit. I encourage anybody from bone stocks, junior late models. You can nominate anybody that you feel deserves it, and that's what's really great about this. Is we had a couple of giveaways, including the Rob James giveaway from the James family, and those were no requirement. And this, I like that you have to have a little bit of an application process in a situation when you're going to go and try and find specific partners, new partners. It's definitely something that you need to practice selling the market of racing, and sell why certain people deserve this deal. And I definitely like that that we do that. And Ash is going to continue. As Brady says, she does a lot for racers, especially Peterborough Speedway. We need more people like her. I put her in the same category as a lot of the other kind of really reputable names. Your Craig Camerons at Image Wraps, Dan Bailey at Epic. She's from the Peterborough track, though, and so what I really like that is she's branching out and this is not just for Peterborough racers. That's the key thing. Not just for Peterborough. This is for any Asphalt Ontario racer. So definitely make it worth your while, and think. I want people to really think of racers who fit this. Maybe somebody that doesn't put themselves in that same category of I fit this. Somebody that wouldn't go out and think that they deserve it. Somebody that could use that $500. And we talk about like every division kind of. There's a lot of divisions out there, a lot of series out there, and there could be a lot of potential suitors for this. So, like I said, I love the idea that people are going to be not drivers nominating other drivers, not just people that they're close to, and we want somebody to really put some effort in. I've heard from Ash about this, and this is bittersweet in a way, because obviously she's suffered, unfortunately, the loss of her dad, but this gives her something to remember and continue remembering him by. And the fact is that it as it states here that it's going to be reviewed by a panel. So it's not going to be just Ash's decision. There's going to be multiple people, it sounds like, that are going to provide input, or I would assume provide maybe suggestions or help narrow down those nominees. And good on her, really. If you can, support Lakeside Mobile Tire Inc., which is a great partner for motorsports, and support Ash and share the post. So the post was made on Ash McMartin's Facebook. We'll be sending it around on stickers and scuffs. Try get it out there as much as possible. Ash's email is in that post for where you can send the nominations to. Now, so that was what we would have started off. What we wanted to start off the show with tonight. And like I said, I'm very happy to see this for Ash, and that we can hopefully. I like this. As Brady says, she'll definitely has a hard job determining who will get the sponsorship. There are tons of names out there that deserve it. It will be a hard choice for sure. And I mean, Brady, for all we know, you could have one person get nominated, or you could have that same person be nominated 4 times. It really, the way I think that Ash put it out there for understanding is it wasn't, in my opinion, from what she'd said, we don't want this in her mind to be she doesn't want a popularity contest. And that's a fair point, because you're always going to have people that have a lot more fans than others, and that doesn't mean that they're more or anybody is less capable or less valued of getting this. So definitely give it your all, guys. Share this post, put it out there. I know that, and what I would say is that I want people to remember Delaware, Sunset, Peterborough tend to get a lot of the love, but remember we have Flamborough, Full Throttle, we have Grand Bend, and we have Sauble. So there's plenty of options. Hell, you could go all the way up and talk about Laird. They constantly get forgotten, and that's a shame on myself that Laird does get forgotten. But they're an Ontario track as well. It might not be as very close, but they are part of it. So whatever you can do to help, it'll be a benefit for sure. And definitely sharing that out there, getting people to nominate. Hopefully that'll happen. Like I said, guys, I'm really trying with my allergies. I am so plugged up right now. I apologize. Brady says, I like seeing newer people or someone who isn't quite as known as others get the prizes and things the more popular people get. Absolutely, Brady. I agree with you 110%. It also gives a little bit more incentive, I would think, to those who haven't had the opportunity. It definitely is a harder thing to do, and yeah, it does. It helps them get their name out there, and so hopefully we'll be able to get some people paying attention and nominating. That's the key thing. Nominate. As Ash says, she wants 100 plus, and the racing community is good enough. They could easily do this, and it doesn't have to be a novel. I'm sure Ash doesn't want to read through a novel, but put your heart into it, because I think that's the biggest thing. You put your heart into who you feel would best represent not just getting that win, but who also would potentially be a great representation of what Ash is asking for. Just like we said, that criteria means something. It is important. Now, I really want to thank Ash McMartin for putting that out there. I think it's fantastic stuff. She wasn't the only one that made a post just a while ago. We have an announcement for a big event happening on July 19th. As we take a look here, July 19th is a Super Stock Invitational, 75 laps around Sauble Speedway with a $3,000 purse to win. $300 to start, $3,000 to win. At Sauble Speedway, it is 75 laps, and of course, you couldn't have a Stewart's Equipment event without a Stewart's Equipment car on the poster, so Sauble doing it well here by adding Sean Chenoweth's Stewart's Equipment car, and that puts a little bit of effort their way to go out there and see how many Stewart's Equipment cars we could get. If you got Cole Burrows and Miles Tyson and Sean Chenoweth and how about Marley Owen? Let's get as many of those Stewart's Equipment cars out there and see if they can go and win the Super Stock 75 presented by Stewart's Equipment. Yes, $3,000 to win at Sauble Speedway. We've talked about this before, but Sauble is making some big moves in 2025. And this was just the start of plenty more. Remember, they still have to release their schedule, and having this big one out here, not too shabby, right? 75 lap road, just see if there's anything else. Yeah, this is the opportunity to go get yourself a surfboard. One of the coolest trophies in all of motorsports, not just racing at super stock level, but in all of racing. That is excellent money. As Andy Camera says, $3K now, that's the money they should be paid. That's what we're talking about. A super stock race. Now, I just need to know if Andy's going to kick Sean Chenoweth out of that 89 car to go and chase this down, because I definitely like to see it. Although Sean does have a pretty good track record winning the big events in his 89. See, I like this. I like this move. You got to do invitationals. And we've talked about a mini stock invitational happening at Delaware Speedway as well this year. Plenty others, it sounds like, on the way. Sunset Speedway, we'll switch gears to them in just a second here, because Sunset Speedway also with a bit of a tease, and we'll go quickly over to their page because they were teasing something as well. And this is an interesting thing here. Sunset Speedway says, going to have to chat with our Twitter department. They keep dropping hints about what we're doing in 2025. If they keep playing this game, we'll have something really wild over here on Facebook. We have an announcement coming this week that it should be of significant interest to Chase Wilson and the rest of Ontario's top super late model racers. What was it? What the heck does that mean? Well, I would think that there is going to be a big time super late model event, and if that's what we're going to see, great news for that division. And they've been they've had a couple of rough seasons, but this is the time that if they're going to put on some big events at their track, this is it. I like the idea. Whether it's going to be like a gold rush type of event, hard to say, but it's going to be very nice to see the super lates get themselves a pretty big deal. they got one obviously with that, as we talked about, with the Gold Rush and being a part of several big weekends. But we have to see what they're going to be putting out there. As we know, like Sunset right now, I believe their schedule will be dropping pretty soon. Peterborough, we know, is not coming until Motorama, and Sauble as well, we are still waiting on as well. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. And Brady, of course, mentions happy to see tracks paying drivers what they deserve, especially when it comes to certain divisions. That division especially is one that will be interesting. Super Lates are one of my favorite divisions, says Matt Bray. Ash McMartin says, I will do some traveling again this summer with Scott McMartin to other tracks. If you're going to go to a track that you've never been to before, I'm going to throw out Laird for the super late models. Jared Fitzpatrick went out and did a race out there, picked up the victory, and that should be something very fun for people to go and experience. And that's the key thing, is get out to a place you haven't been before. I'm potentially going to try Sauble. It just depends if the schedule aligns, but there's a lot of good that we potentially have on tap for 2025. We did get a little announcement, which we're going to start seeing a bit more and more of this. If we scroll just a little bit past this one here, there was an announcement that Paul Pepper is back in the St. Ange Recreation Superstocks out at Sunset Speedway in 2025. He's going to go back and chasing the championship. I think Paul had a season that I think he felt he was probably going to do a little better. Still had a great finish to it, but I think he would have thought that that there's potentially a win in that column that I think he would have expected to have, but that's okay. He'll be back this year to try and sneak into victory lane, get that number 20, beautiful number 29. I can't wait to see what it looks like this year as well. Pepper always has the best looking super stocks, so we'll definitely be looking that way for 2025. So welcome back to Paul Pepper. He is not the only racer, in fact, that did announce their plans. We do have a couple, or at least one announcement for a series that we really I don't feel it gets enough appreciation. I'm going to try and see where that post, oh yes, there it was. Okay, so confirmation from Mike Norris with the Ontario Pro Challenge that Ethan Fleet is returning for the 2025 championship in that number 42, sponsored by Tyco, RV, and Toby Construction. So great news to see that number 42 back at Flamborough and traveling with the Ontario Pro Challenge. That will be, again, I urge people to take a look at this series, because it is something that I think people forget exists and they don't give it much of a chance. And it is definitely a track in Flamborough that is interesting, but the racing is tight, the cars are fun to watch, and the racing is great. GM at Sauble Speedway, Brad Holmes, is in the chat if you have questions regarding the Superstock event. He has confirmed $3,000 to win based on 17 cars. The purse will wind up being north of $14,000. Sauble Speedway has decided to make it a big, big deal in 2025. And I know that Brad is not done. The schedule's not even been released yet. and they're dropping bombs already on what the season is going to look like. So a big congratulations to the entire team out there. We still have a good bit to go before the racing season does fully start. Sauble Speedway, of course, as we talked about, lots of change happening with them. And we can also make sure that people do make sure that they go out to Motorama in 2025. Motorama has made some announcements in regards to the event. And we're going to just take a quick look at what they've been posting. Motorama. All right. So as of right now, the announcement of guests, first guest that they have, or I believe it might be the second guest right now, Chip Foose is going to be coming in, legendary automotive designer and builder. It's from the show Overhauling. I'm not familiar, but Motorama back March 7th, 8th, 9th, 2025 at the Toronto International Centre, presented by eBay Motors. Cam K will be there with stickers and scuffs. We do have a media booth once again, and I will be doing some reveals, some interviews, giving people their decals. There's so much that is looking to be on the plate for that weekend. There will also be other folks from media there, including Jomo Media and the Wide World of Motorsports. We have Turn 3 showing up as well. Only Fours, Rich Schwarzenberg is coming out as well. So lots on the table for 2025's Motorama. 3 days of absolute fun, seeing some great cars, some awesome booths. And you know what? It's a great way to just connect with your racing fans, connect with your racing community. Go out and try and get yourself a partner. I really want racers to do this. Talk as much as you can, and not just with the people that you know. There are so many companies that are there. Talk to every single one. Bring proposals. Bring paperwork. Do whatever you have to do. Try and secure them. It's not an easy thing, I will admit. It is hard to be able to go and do that and try and get yourself a partner, but it can be done. We did have racers last year that did get deals done. We had a couple series that got deals done at Motorama. So we'll be around. Cars on display yet. Most of those will probably be, Nicole, most of those will probably be announced a little bit closer to the date. I know of some, but it's not my place to mention who they are. But I do expect you will see some OSS cars there. OSS is, I believe, in the exact same spot as they were last year. Typically, every track will have a representation. Some of the series, some of the main series, I guess you'd say, like APC, Oscar, they typically will have a car from their divisions there. But as in terms of the Racers Corral, I don't know. Now they did post that spots are going really quick, so they're kind of you got to make sure people get their paperwork in, or else they might be out of luck. And of course, the big thing for us to remember is the Fast Eddie Night of Champions. If you are a champion from 2024, sign up, register, you get yourself a little plaque and be part of the presentations as we celebrate you. It's one of the best things about Motorama is to be able to get champions a little bit of recognition on the big stage. hopefully the racer section is taking over the show, Calvin, because that's what we want. In the past, last couple of years, OSS has been there. Most of the tracks, I believe, have been there. Maybe 1 or 2 omissions from the tracks. I don't think Laird was there last year, and I don't think Grand Bend was there. But everybody else, I believe, was. Racing Series, Oscar, OSS, APC, NASCAR Canada was there last year. Not sure if they will be again this year, but I could definitely find that out. In terms of cars on display, last year you did have LP Dumoulin and Stephen Cote with their brand new looks and brand new rides last year. I can't guarantee that you're going to see NASCAR again, but hopefully there you'll have muscle cars, drag cars, road racing cars. CASC typically has some cars there. I believe last year I don't think we had any midgets. I don't think we had Can-Am midgets there last year. Legend cars are out there. Great Lakes Legends were definitely part of it. Ontario Legend cars, I think, maybe. Racer Corral typically needs to have, I think it's like 10, 15 cars. I feel like 2023 we actually had more on display than last year, but I could be wrong. I expect you'll see some junior late models. You'll see Two Speed Motorsports. They're definitely going to have a booth there. I believe Mighty Wipes will have a booth there. I told you before, media. We're expected to have a booth there. And there'll likely be some more big guests. They just haven't announced them yet. But you still have time to go out there, register, get yourself to be a part of this big show. Be there for all 3 days. And likely from start to finish. I know Monday after the show, I have no voice left. So if it stays the same like it did last year, I'm going to need to make sure I bring a cooler with me because the air I found got really dry. And it gets really hot too. If you are going to Motorama, make sure you plan for the day. What I would suggest is if you are going to be part of the racing, want to go and join the racing scene, maybe if you want to see the rest of the show, I would suggest go all the way to the end first and work your way back. What tends to happen is that people go slowly through and then they don't even get to the end. And if I remember correctly, last year it got extremely tight in terms of traffic. Trendell Racing, what are your thoughts on the modified scene? Oscar, Sunset, Delaware, and OMRS changing their bodies to an outlaw style. So Trendell Racing, okay. If you would ask me last year, I would say I was a lot more concerned. Do I have concern right now? Yes. Major concern? Yes. Why? Because I think we don't have a strong enough modified core to have Sunset Delaware scene. OMRS, I think, needed to do something. Personally, I think OMRS has a lot of work to do, not just to design of the car. I think one of the things that I think a lot of fans have a hard time with is knowing what they are. It's the same with kind of the Pro 4 modifieds. There's a lot of modified divisions, and I don't know if any of the fields are really strong enough to warrant that many divisions. The hard part is being able to put everybody in one division together, and that just doesn't seem to be a possibility. Now, I like what Oscar has done by making it more local to Delaware. less races, I believe, is the call. I think Amanda Balson coming into the division at Sunset really helps. However, I think TJ Edwards leaving that division really hurts it. And I think you're going to kind of see what we've seen the last couple of years. Unless we get a bunch of different names coming in. I know obviously Steve Trindle has 2 cars now, but whether we see Norman Newman again, whether we see Chris Mulwayne, Paul Townsend, Wally Wilson has, I think, 4 cars. If Wally can get 4 drivers in and has cars running at every race, that would obviously help, but we have to think kind of realistically there. I think right now it's going to hurt. Hopefully just for another season, and then it bumps back up again. One of the things that I was told by a very smart racer is that this happens a lot with divisions, is that they struggle, and they struggle for a couple years, and then all of a sudden it picks back up again. I love the modified divisions. They're one of my favorite things to watch, especially on Autumn Colors. I love the modifieds. I think the racing is so cool. I'm more of a tour style. I prefer tour style modifieds over OMRS, Pro 4. The Outlaw body is a little interesting because I would have expected that maybe the Super Outlaws would be objective to that. Hard to say. I don't really know what the reasoning is there, but I'm sure those cars are going to look really cool. And for Peterborough, I mean, that's primarily where I think where OMRS runs out of. All the power to them. I mean, that's the same thing when we talk with the Hurricanes, the Hooligan Hurricanes running midget cars, just like what we've seen. I think that warrants a bit more concern. Again, because instead of having one big division, we're getting multiple mini divisions. And I'm not saying that can't work. It's worrisome. As long as those divisions will try to work with each other at some point, maybe there's some truth and some benefit. But I worry about it. As Ash points out, parking is a nightmare if you are going. And don't just do this. Do not for anything. Do not just park in the plaza beside the International Center, because people do this all the time. I don't do that, just because then everybody tries to park in the plaza, and then the plaza's full, and they need police, and it was a mess. Now, I'm glad to have this J.R. Fitzpatrick, who knows the modifieds way more than I, and knows Ontario racing way more than I, and can shed some truth here. So I really want to read JR's comment here. So JR states that the modifieds have always been a struggle, unfortunately, because no one can agree on the same package. This is the drivers, not the tracks or the series. The OMRS going to an outlaw body, this is important, why I want to hear it from him, is because J.R. Fitzpatrick, a part of the Outlaw Super Lates, going to an outlaw body, I think, is a good idea because it will allow guys to be creative and build their own stuff again, just like the old days. Yet they're keeping costs down with small engines, crates, small brakes. Stepping stone for the outlaw class is needed. You heard it from the man himself. J.R. Fitzpatrick speaks truth and knows a lot more than I when it comes to this division, especially when it comes to technical side of things and the history. Admittedly, I do not know much about the Outlaws. I'm still getting very used to those divisions and the ones that I wasn't familiar with before. So, again, I hope we can get to the point where Outlaws and Modifieds both have 15, 20 cars. But we also have to be realistic as well and realize that there is going to be periods where we're not going to have those cars. They are going to struggle, and we've seen it. I think I applaud, really, actually, not I think, I applaud those who are attempting to try and make changes to help in the future because they recognize there is an issue. If they just sat back and did nothing, then there's not really a showcase that, hey, we know that we've got issues and we're trying to work on them. So I look forward to seeing how that field looks this year. OMRS, I already saw Brad Stevenson's pretty badass looking car. So and as JR says, if it's a step up, a stepping stone to the Outlaw class, perfect. That's great. We want to see that. We want to see opportunities for not just fans to know about these series, but for drivers to eventually, like you say, get from one of those cars and move into a higher class of car that they're familiar with too. So and there we go. This is a great conversation. Andy Camera says disagree. The series gave the drivers no confidence. So this is, we go back and forth right between what's what and what's what. But you got two guys that know the modifieds that talk about it. I personally wish that I would just host a show where it was like race and debates and have two legends like these guys just go back and forth with their point and counterpoint on how they see it. And I can't really, like I said, I can't really speak to it myself because I'm just an outside face looking at it. Andy says can't invest in a product that has zero future was part of the reason I left. JR says a guy like you wouldn't ever get confidence. Andy kind of ran the show in the modifieds for a couple of years, so it's kind of a catch, right? You want things to succeed, but it's tough. I like, honestly, Nicole, I'd like to see these two go and give us their true feelings around the situation. Not just this, but other, and guys that are opinionated make for great content. So, and I feel like the one thing I appreciate is that I don't think they'd beat around the bush. Both Andy and JR would be frank and telling you exactly what they think about a lot of stuff that's happened. I'll go down the line between late models to NASCAR Canada to yes, I do, JR. We'll get ourselves a pulled off of Facebook, but it'd be a lot of fun actually. Just I think to have that, because I think some. I understand there's going to be opinions and on either side of the coin, but I really want to hear why some people think some way and why people don't think this way, and it's important. Matt Bray mentions he's got some big things coming out Friday. Paul Pepper says Camrath versus Fitzpatrick, big wheels race, one lap around Sauble. Ooh, big wheels race. That's a tough one, though. I definitely think you gotta get them in those mini scooters from they used to have in elementary school. That's all leg power, though. Might be a bit of an advantage to Andy. Sorry, JR, but I don't know. You guys are selling it really good. So Brad Holmes was in the chat earlier. So Brad, if you want something else to do for Sauble, let's put on J.R. Fitzpatrick versus Andy Camrath in a big wheels race. One lap, and hell, if they don't make it on a turn two, that's great. Just as long as they don't put on a Spencer Gallagher and John West Townley fight, because oh boy, with or without the wheel clackers, yeah. Seriously, have you seen Andy's finger? Oh, oh, yes, it be interesting for sure. And I tell you, the crowd would get a good kick out of that for sure. And then hell, make it a traveling series, and you got to do. Got to go to like Varney, and then you got to go to Flamborough, do the same thing. It's the thing, Jr. I mean, I've seen Andy, and he's built because he's been busy lifting a lot of trophies over the years. So it it makes it pretty simple for him. But it'll be interesting this year. I posted. I guess since Andy's been on the show, why don't we take a look at this beautiful thing that ImageDrops.ca put together? Make a nice post. Really excited about this, actually. This is beautiful. Man, I would love to know when the time is going to be that Craig Camerath is not going to impress me with a wrap that he does, but man, look at this. This is your 2025. I believe this is this. I think it said its second car for Andy Camerath. Whew. That is hot, and it's going to look beautiful under the lights. Oh, what a good-looking car. And I'm excited to see Andy and the Legend cars. They've got a really tight field there, and I'm excited to see where kind of things shake out for sure. Because I'd like to know if Andy's still in here, if he's ever been in a Legend car before. I'm excited to see how he and Cole stack up once I think that's going to be a fun battle. I know there's a couple other names. I've heard Del Freiberger potentially in a Legend car. Obviously, you got Austin Arnell out there in the Great Lakes Legends. And I would like to see a couple more. I've talked about it before. I want to see Sean Chenoweth in one of these things, wheeling around in an 89C Legend car and see what he could do. He's won in everything else he's done. So, ran 15 laps in one. That's it? Oh, man. Shit, I expected a little more seat time than that. But, I think Ontario Legend Car Racing and Great Lakes Legends, they're going to be the gem this year. I think that there's going to be some really good competitive races in those divisions this year. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. Especially with the young faces coming in and some of the veteran names. You got Jade Franklin in there, Cole McFadden, the Cuthbertsons. You want to see Colton Everingham in one, says Ash. Yeah, I think that's definite as well. I say might have to have a roof hatch at the top of them, but Andy can't wear this wash sub, eh? But yeah, like I said before, Stickers and Scuffs, proud partner with ImageDrops.ca, and if you guys want something to look this good, now Craig is here, but I believe that he had mentioned that this is reflective, if I'm not mistaken, or it's a blue chrome, and it's going to look great under the lights, man. It's going to look really, really nice, and looking forward to seeing what these. Hopefully we don't have the start of the season like the Legends had last year. They had a lot of wrecks, and we know we got to have patience out there, and then of course got to wonder and see how Jake Spencer Walt does. He'll be back for his, I guess it'll be a first full season because he was he started off in mini stock last year, but it'll be interesting to see how Jake does in his car as well. So, obviously we're going to get more and more car reveals as the days go on, and more that will be coming to us at Motorama. And of course, we're hoping to have still have to iron out some details of potentially having 2 at our booth. It just, again, it all depends on whether or not everything can come on through and work well. But yeah, it is going to be really interesting for 2025. Yeah, to see so much for this season. I mean, I really wanted to start already. It's this is brutal, this wait period. Luckily, when we do get to Motorama, that's when it's on. It feels a lot more like racing's right around the corner, and we'll be here all season long, all off season long. Of course, we don't really take a break here, although we did just come back from taking a break at Christmas time. But ONTrack Weekly here on GeForce TV. Of course, make sure if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and you know what, definitely go out there and support a lot of people that make this happen. Of course, Race Rivals Race Chat tomorrow. This will be very exciting this year if we could continue to build this program. When I can breathe through my nose, I'm definitely going to be a lot better. I feel like this was a really rough show for me, just mentally trying to deal with bugs in the condo and the combination of stress from that. I am not a bug guy, and especially these types of bugs that are just the worst and pain to get rid of. And luckily we got the place sprayed and we got the new floors put down, and thank God for the racing community. Like I said, make sure you show out tomorrow for Adam Roscoe and Jeffrey. They're always going to have something fun to talk about and always put something good on the screen for us to watch. They've always got some amazing guests lined up. We're going to try and get some of those guests on this program in the future. And, we look forward to that. And we look forward to you guys. If you haven't already, give us a like, thumbs up even. Thumbs up, it just helps. And get people as a part of the sponsorship opportunity with Lakeside Mobile Tire. Oh, man. Calvin, if I could get Beetlejuice here, I'd love it. I'd love it. It would be great. Because frankly, I'm done with this. I got my 2 cats and they don't do shit. So I was like, you're supposed to try and combat these friggin' bugs, man. But anyways, appreciate you all. ONTrack Weekly. Thank you guys. Hopefully we'll have another schedule to talk about next week, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for everybody that was a part of the show, and let's have a great night, and we'll see you all next week.